We make it up. It's different each time.
Look, I reckon this can probably be the start of the season.
You'll start? Yeah, that is the idea.
Yep, good. So welcome everyone to the Better Blokes Project. We are kicking off season 2, so it has been a bit of time since our last episode, so much so that my newborn son that we were talking about a little bit on the first season is now 9 weeks old. So pretty crazy, pretty surreal being a dad. I know all of us in the room here are dads, and we might talk about that a little bit further on in the episode. But I'd like to thank Josh for coming on, and mate, we dive straight into it typically. So what's your small piece of advice that you would give others around you to just help them be that little bit better every day?
I've been thinking about this hard over the last 4 minutes. And for me in my life, I think one thing that is very important to me that I know has made a big difference in my life is I journal. I do journaling every night, and the way my journal's set out, it's got prompts in it so that I don't forget to think about certain things throughout and sort of think about it and reflect on it for each day, and then go back and look at that at the end of the week. So
definitely capture certain points, which is,
yeah, and force myself to think about certain things and make sure I'm on track with certain things. Things like exercise, what I've been doing during the day. Another one is gratitude. I always try and make a point to say what I'm grateful for at the end of each day. So, yeah. So
no, that's
journaling.
wicked. Yeah, it's really good. It's something that we've heard a bit about, and it would be good to elaborate on that further. But just about yourself and what you've done, where you come from, what you're doing now, dad stats. Is that what we say? Yep. So all the above. So we'll dive into that, and then, we'll get into it.
Well, so born in Launceston and grew up in Lonnie, went to school and Prospect High School and Launceston College. So I spent most of my youth in Lonnie, and then decided to do an ag science degree, which was, I didn't really know what I wanted to do at the end of college. I had a few interests in music and science and a few other things, but the ag science sort of interested me because it was sort of, I really enjoyed science, and I was living in a sort of agricultural area, so that sort of made good sense to me. So went down to uni and did the 4-year course of ag science down in Hobart, which I was happy to get out of after 4 years. And then got a job up in Ulverston with Servag as an agronomist. So that was basically what agronomy is giving advice to growers. So I'd go up and visit all the local growers around this area in Gawler and Forth, all the way through to Rihanna, visiting growers on a weekly basis, looking at their crops, giving them advice on what, nutrition, irrigation, pest control, all that sort of thing. And I did that for 8 years. I was with Servag, and that was good fun. And then I moved into Harvest Moon for 1 year to be a senior agronomist for Harvest Moon on their crops. And then, then I made the change to go to the brewery full time. So in terms of the brewery, I started home brewing in uni. To just make the cheapest piss as possible.
We can all aspire to that, mate.
Yeah. So it's. I mean, ag science was great. They sort of had homebrew competitions. It was just the thing you did basically. Got the old Cooper's kit, made some pretty rancid batches.
But I'm sure you drunk them anyway.
You sure did. Sipped on them and just thinking, oh, how good's this? But then just sort of wincing, going, oh, it tastes like shit. But, just working out how many cents it was per bottle and that sort of thing. So that was, that was good fun. But the more that I did my science degree, the units that I was studying helped me with my brewing quite a lot. So I did a lot of courses such as microbiology and chemistry and all that, which you can apply to brewing quite easily, especially microbiology actually, because brewing is 90% cleaning and 10% brewing. Yep. So it's all about, if everything's clean, then you're most of the way there. So, throughout the uni degree, I learnt how to brew better and slowly got out of the Cooper's kit and made some more sort of all grain brewing, and got to the stage where I moved up here to Ulverston, and I got to the stage where I was making like all these batches of beer, and friends and family were saying, "Oh, why don't you sell this stuff?" And I sort of thought, "Oh, I wonder what the process is," and looked through it and found that it was fairly straightforward for me to start selling the stuff. So did that, got the license, and then started. I approached Paul Morrison at Morrison Brewery in Lonnie, and asked him if I could use my recipe on his gear to sort of make that step from home brewing to commercial brewing without having to invest fully on a massive brew kit. So that worked well. I don't know how many batches I did with Paul. It was probably 10 or 20 batches, I reckon. And that was great. So could sort of test the waters to see if it was worthwhile in investing in my own brewery. And it sold really well. The local guys up here love to have a local beer. So sort of made the call while I was still working full time to invest in the brewery around at Short Street. And that was great. Sort of there's a lot to go from there.
Yeah, and man, that must have been
big steps.
Yeah, massive steps, and probably leads me back into. You spoke a little bit about journaling, and some of our other guys have spoken about that in the past, as well as gratitude. I think Belly talked about gratitude, and Martin as well to a degree. With that, and cycling back to your 1%, how did you integrate like journaling into that journey? Like, where did it start?
Yeah, how do you find the time?
Yeah. Well, journaling came a fair bit after all of that. So I guess going back, the next big step for me was after I got the brewery in Short Street, I sort of realised that selling just the cans wholesale is okay, but if you want to make more money, the best way is to sell it direct and to have your own bar. And so it sort of all just worked at the right time that the restaurant down at the wharf here in Ulverston came up for lease, and looking back, it was pretty crazy to take on a project like that. But I went for it and got it, and still working full time. I was working 5 days a week at Harvest Moon and had the brewery, and opened up a 120-seat restaurant. Like, it was just ridiculous. So I wasn't journaling at all during that period. Yep. And it was way too much looking back in hindsight. And so the journaling sort of came in as a result of burning out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So doing all that, I just kept burning out. I was just constantly burning out, just way too much on my plate.
Yeah, for sure.
And had young family as well. So had my little boy and had a girl on the way, and all this going on, and I was just crashing,
just frazzled,
crashing hard. So as a result of that, I sort of went to a psychologist for a little bit, and he got me onto the path of journaling and doing all this sort of good stuff, and it's gone from there.
That's awesome, man. Tell us a little bit more about, we've heard about journaling and stuff before, and personally I've sort of, I won't say I do it, but have dabbled in it just sort of on my phone and whatnot, and can totally relate. But just to lean back into what you were saying about burnout, and, that's come up in the podcast before, but also I guess your mental state or your mindset when going into having full-time work, and then, that decision, like what went through your mind when you were, deciding to open a 120-seat restaurant?
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, for me at the time, it was a too good opportunity to pass up. So that was sort of the reason that I did it, was because I thought if I don't do it, I'll be hate myself for not doing it.
Yeah.
So,
were you driven by like being a provider for the family and seeing that as a financial thing for the family, or was it more like a passion?
It was a passion. Yeah. Because like I said, I had the full-time job, so that was providing amply for the family. So it was me following my dream and chasing that passion. And probably because I wasn't journaling, I wasn't reflecting on it well enough, and I wasn't probably thinking it through. For me, what it felt like was I was just riding the wave. Like I was just on this wave, and I just had to ride it out.
Just taking it as it comes.
Yeah, just take it as it comes. Yeah.
What you mentioned family there, and knowing that you have 2 young ones. What impact did that decision have on your young family?
Yeah, it was pretty tough actually. It meant that I was away most nights, especially during the first opening up of the restaurant. I was closing every night, so I was working all through the day, closing of the night, getting home late, not much sleep. So yeah, it was impacting on the family for sure. And after, I'm trying to think how long, I think it was about, because we were open for 3 months and then COVID hit. And so that sort of helped. That was a bit of a breather for me to, not have so much on my plate there for about 6 months, 3 months that we were closed. And then when we reopened after COVID, I kind of realised that that the restaurant business was supporting me enough that I could give up the full-time job. Yeah. So that sort of helped a lot.
Talk us through that decision as well. So, there is a lot of budding sort of entrepreneurs, like we thinking back to season 1, we had Quinny sort of going out and making that decision to go out and
do his own thing.
Own thing.
Step out of that safety blanket. Yeah.
What was that like for you mentally, like the struggles of, knowing that, look, if all things go pear-shaped, I've still got a 9-to-5 job like that pays me well to do the work. What was that like for you, like going and then just going, fuck, I'm going to have a go at my own thing and I know I'm going to be okay? How was that?
It was, it seemed right at the time. It didn't seem like a big decision, but looking back on it, it's risky for sure. But yeah, I just knew that financially the business was doing well, and I guess I had trust in it that it would continue to support me pretty well. And not only that, obviously if COVID hit again and we shut down again, that there goes my income, but I also had the brewery side of things, so that was still pumping during COVID, still selling a lot of beers, and that was, so
We had to drink, didn't we?
About all you could do.
Sales actually went up,
It's probably where that's a bit different to what Quinny did. So Quinny stepped out of the safety blanket and then started something, whereas you've had a business running at the time that had some runs on the board and you knew that it could do what you needed it to do.
Yeah, I didn't have that period of nothing in between, So it was good that I had that I wasn't stepping out into nothing, but at the same time, that period of having both was, very hard.
Handy, yeah.
How did you manage your sort of, I know you mentioned burnout, like how did you manage, like what were some of the things that you done before journaling, etc.? And you did say that you sought professional help, but was there anything else that you done in that time where maybe you realised you were becoming unwell or it was becoming a bit overwhelming? Like what kind of stuff would you tell others that really helped you?
I guess surrounding myself around the right people would be one of the things. Getting help with, realising where you need help and asking for help. I've always found it hard to ask for help. I've always wanted to do everything myself and sort of a bit stubborn like that. So, asking people for help and that would help.
Having people around you that you know are going to do a quality job that you would do.
Yeah, that's right.
A big one for me.
That is hard. Yeah. Especially when it's your passion and you want that person.
It's your baby.
That's right. You need. You don't want to give it up.
Yeah.
So the journaling came into it on what period? Like during the COVID, after the COVID? Like when was your burnout? Obviously,
after COVID,
like was it while you were still working your full-time job?
Yeah, no, it was.
Yeah, and then you go into that and you seek that professional help, and then a lot of people we've had on board have sort of stayed on with their psychologist a little bit and still maintain that relationship somewhat and see them. So in terms of that and your journaling, like you said that it's quite guided and stuff, is it something that you're willing to share on how guided it is for other people who want to do it? Like Aaron's dabbled in it. I've wrote it once in my notes on my phone, but I
I've
learned
thought
you can
about it.
share notes from your phone to my partner's phone the other day. We did a list before we went away on the weekend. You can both tick it off. So we could do like a shared thing, something like that, which was good. But I've got no guide. I've got no thing. I'm sure they're available on
You need a
internet,
template.
but a template. Like, what's your template?
Yeah, I sort of just came up with it myself. It's literally, I use a paper book, and which I'm old school write in.
A pen.
A pen, yeah.
not a stylus. Cool.
Yeah, so I write in it every day. I find that manually writing it down is so much better than even
Typing it
digitally.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just you download it, you get it off your brain, and it's on the paper, and it's just feels like it's physically off.
Yeah.
Out of you.
And going digitally, you might be a little bit stimulated from just interacting with technology as well.
Yeah.
I've just got
about the footy scores. And
Exactly. Yeah.
I've just got to find a book that hasn't been written in already. I sent you that video.
Yeah.
So keep going.
Yeah. So in terms
We
of
digress.
what I my template is, I guess, it's certain prompts on the page that I write down every day. So one thing is always exercise. I just try and get at least 30 minutes of exercise a day. Doesn't matter what it is. I usually run quite a lot, but I've cooked my knee, so I'm swimming now. So exercise is one. Gratitude is one. So I always think about what I'm grateful for at the end of each day. What else is there? Just notes on the day. So I'll just have notes about what happened, what I thought of, and that sort of thing. Trying to think what else is in there. And then the other one is kind of, I don't really know what I call it. It's just basically learning, reading, creativity is sort of what it is. So it's either reading, playing music, or doing something, one of my hobbies.
So it's an activity that you want to make sure you tick off once per day.
Yeah, it's something that I know that I have enjoyed.
Yep.
Like I want to do something every day that I know that I've enjoyed.
Yeah, that's good. And you share these with your family, like your partner and
No, I keep it to myself.
yeah. That's it's good. And then so if something's lacking, so if you haven't exercised for 3 days, do you then like get real antsy because I've got to do it tomorrow? I have to do it tomorrow because I haven't done it for 3 days in my journal, so I have to do it.
I don't get antsy, but it's keeping me. What's the word? It
Helps keep yourself accountable.
Yeah, it's keeping me accountable, exactly. Like, if I wasn't doing it, I might go a whole week without exercising and not really realise.
Yeah.
I can vouch
It's
for
like
that.
me paying $30 a week to go to the gym. Makes me go to the gym because I'm a tight ass. So I want to get my value's worth.
Yeah.
I rode my push bike for the first time on Thursday
There you go.
in 3 years.
We were only just talking about that the other day because I was wheeling my bike out and I was like, fuck, I haven't been out in the mountain bike for a little while. And Olivia was like, oh, when did you last time go out? And I said, oh, probably with Guy. And I was like, oh, that's a long time ago.
Oh, yeah. We went
Quite a few years ago.
We went to the pump track with the boys.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Out at Latrobe. It
Yep.
Thrashed me. I did like 3 laps.
Nice stuff. Yeah. No, I reckon I'd be cooked myself. Yeah. Mate, so we spoke a little bit about, obviously, where Buttons went until you got to that point of, opening the restaurant and that kind of stuff now. Now that chapter's sort of, I guess, closed, for those that aren't local, Buttons Restaurant has sort of moved on. What are you doing now, like? Are you back being an agronomist, and what made you to sort of make the decision to close up the restaurant, I guess, is probably where I'm going with that.
So we were there for 3 years, and after sort of that 2.5 year mark, I kind of got to the stage where I felt like I'd achieved that goal.
Done it.
And
Awesome.
Wave had finished.
Yeah, that's right. I was on the beach.
Yeah.
And I sort of said to myself, I can either set more goals and push this in a different direction, or I can step back and say, I've done that. It's time for someone else to take it on, and just go back to just making the beer and doing the brewing, which is what I love.
Yeah.
That's sort of what the passion is. I don't feel like I go to work every day. So, yeah.
And you're still doing that full time?
That's full time. Yeah.
Yep.
And that gives you much more time with your family and stuff.
Oh, heaps more.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's wicked that you've you've risen to the not to the, to the top, I suppose. You've got there and you've done this, and then you've just gone, cool. You haven't gone and just kept going and going and going and burying yourself further. You've just appreciated
Recognised your spot.
Recognised what you've been able to do.
Yep.
Just gone, now it's time to recoup the benefits of what I've done and given up in order to get that, which I think is beneficial for a lot of people to realise that they can just let it go. Mm-hmm. And I assume you'd say you'd be happier now that you've got that time with the family and you're doing all that sort of stuff. Like, I don't stalk you, but you're at the park regularly. Like, I go to the park regularly, so you're there regularly, and that seems good. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I knew that I couldn't push it any further. Like, I knew I'd probably just burn out again if I continued to push that side of things. So I was, I think I was very lucky to find a buyer, and that I didn't want to just close it, like to actually sell it was, very lucky.
Make sure it kept going.
Yeah, that's right.
Didn't lose all that work.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, that was great. So now I'm just back to making the beer, sending it out, and being at home every weekend and every night.
Yep.
Except for tonight.
So you've got, So, thanks for coming out. But so you managed to get the business to that point where that just filled that gap entirely of full-time work, and you can just own it. I know personally, like, you can buy Buttons beer at pretty much every single bottle shop in Tasmania, it would seem. So you've definitely pushed it a really long way in what I would consider, and looking from the outside in, probably a really short period of time, like to get it into as many bottle shops and places as you have in Tasmania. It's really a testament to you and obviously to a good brew. Folks, if you do want Buttons beer, it's pretty much available at any single bottle shop. Josh could probably plug it a little bit better than what I can. In Tassie, I'm not sure if it's on the mainland yet.
No, not on the mainland, no.
No. But we're drinking Sea Spray tonight, fellas, and it's very, very good.
Just feel sponsored.
Feel sponsored, yeah. Feel sponsored, yeah. Feel obliged. But mate, I think for a lot of people, just a testament to you for actually following, I guess, a passion. And not feeling like you had to be stuck in, I think Quinny was talking about that as well. That
in the grind.
Stuck in the grind, working for the man because you're afraid of making that leap. Is there any sort of last little things that you would like to reflect on for perhaps anyone else that's thinking about maybe a similar journey? So whether or not as a brewer or just as an entrepreneur sort of looking to make that step into the next step into working for themselves or whatever it might be.
Yep. First of all, I think I was very lucky in the fact that my passion was a rapidly growing market, and I was the first one to do it in this area. So that was
perfect time and place.
Perfect time and place for me. If your passion is something that no one wants to buy, then that makes it quite a bit difficult.
Yeah.
I know that I was very lucky to step into it at the right time and the right place, and so it sort of just organically grew very well. So I didn't really have to push it that hard. In terms of advice for people to have a crack, I guess my advice would be to test the waters like I did. Start off. Don't go in full whole hog. Test the waters to see how things go, and I guess try not to burn out. Check yourself. Make sure you're. I guess if you keeping a journal, that would have helped me a lot more back in the day. If I was sort of writing down what I was doing when I was working full time and having a family and running a restaurant, if at the end of every night I was doing what I'm doing now, I probably would have said, "Oh, hang on, this isn't sustainable."
Pages and you're like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Great spot to finish it, mate. Thank you very much for coming on the podcast. Cheers, everyone, for watching. Look, please make sure you like and subscribe. This is our first episode of Season 2. We've spoken a little bit about some of the episodes that came from Season 1, so please feel free to jump back through onto YouTube, Spotify, and all other good podcasting platforms and have a listen to them. And otherwise, thanks very much. Thanks, Josh. Cheers for being a legend. And see you all next time. Thanks.
Thanks for having me.